Can you turn a stressful, pressure-filled moment into a powerful catalyst for your growth and change? In today's podcast, I share the mindset shift that enabled me to shift out of overwhelm and wanting to run away from a difficult situation to running towards it, excited for the growth I was about to experience. I can't wait to share this with you. Welcome to the Resilient Rainer, the premier podcast focused on mental performance for equestrians and improved horse show performance. Whether you're a rookie reiner or a seasoned competitor, this show is for riders who want to take their skills to the next level and achieve their full potential in the show ring. I'm Nicole Burnett, and I'm a master mindset coach who's obsessed with helping you achieve all those horse dreams you always thought were impossible. Join me each week to develop a show-ready mindset and gain the competitive edge you need to compete with confidence. Hey there, welcome back. I'm Nicole. I'm your host of the Resilient Reader podcast, and let's get into it. So, in a very cosmically funny twist of events today, I have done multiple takes recording today's podcast, which does get old, honestly, and it will become immediately clear to you why this is so funny and feels like the universe playing a joke on me as you listen to today's episode. So, why is it so funny that I've had to re-record multiple times to get audio? Well, because last Thursday, I recorded a podcast with a guest and my phone didn't record it. Ah, so I had driven out to record in person with roper, reiner, and non-pro coach Jeff Wedman. I was so excited to have Jeff on the podcast because of the unique perspective that he can bring as a coach to riders on the mental side of competition, as well as his observations on non-pro riders. And I'm excited to share this because even if you are in a training program, you may not have the ability to sit down with your trainer and have a discussion like this. I was just really tickled and so excited. So I get out there and I set up the camera and I went to set up the microphones. I have a couple portable mics, and one of them wasn't charged despite being plugged in overnight, but no big deal. Frustrating, but we can share a mic. It's fine. We get to talking. We have a great conversation. The talk is flowing. Jeff is providing thoughtful answers and his full attention. I am just so thrilled. And I know folks are going to get so much out of this conversation. Well, I just get a paranoid inkling that maybe, just maybe, my camera wasn't recording. Before we finish up, let me get up and check everything, I say. It was my nightmare, guys. The camera hadn't been working, and I have no idea why, but it wasn't recorded, and such is life. I felt so crushed. Personally, I was embarrassed. Professionally, I was embarrassed. And honestly, I wanted to throw a little tantrum. What was I going to do? I was so frustrated that this had happened. Now, there have been a few times where a podcast that I recorded solo didn't take for, one reason or another. And I mean, when you are using technology, tech issues, it just comes to the territory that sometimes things happen. But in that situation, I would just set it aside and come back to re-record later. However, in this situation, it wasn't just me. Here I was with a guest who had cleared space in their schedule for this interview. As much as I wanted to come back another day, I wanted to respect their time more.
And I felt that it was my duty to do what I could do to salvage this now in the time that they had. So I pivoted, I created a different setup for recording, and Jeff so very graciously agreed to try again. And we did. I'll admit, I was absolutely a little bit more flustered the second time than the first time around, but such is life. Afterwards, Jeff had to leave, but he said that I could ride in the indoor arena before I headed out. And I could feel how amped up I was. I was full of embarrassment, frustration, and even some anger at how things went with the technological issues. And a part of me didn't want to ride at all, to just cool down and try again another day. And there's nothing wrong with taking space if you can't control your emotions. But I had a brief flash of insight where I realized that I had to ride. During our interview, Jeff mentioned how hard he works to create stress at home, create stress for himself, for the horses, for his riders, so that when it's time to go show, the competition feels like a day off because you train harder at home than how you compete. Brilliant words, right? I mean, academically, who's going to disagree? Well, it struck me that I too, I'm a huge advocate of practicing like you show, of doing what you can to replicate the show environment at home, to replicate the stress and overwhelming feelings. This is a big part of why I love visualization, because your body brings up the stress for you to practice dealing with. Well, here I was feeling awfully like I would at a horse show. I'd done everything, quote, right, unquote. I'd had a good ride, then a bad ride, and it was messing me up something awful. I was able to pull my head out of the sand long enough to see that the universe was giving me an incredible gift. It was giving me the opportunity to practice performing in a high pressure situation. It was giving me the opportunity to practice controlling my emotions, to practice finding my neutral. Could I pull myself out of this downward spiral and have a good ride? Could I center myself enough to be a good leader for my horse? Could I control my emotions so that we could have a good ride? Can I use this moment of stress to catapult myself to the next level? Let me say that again because this is a big deal. Can I use this moment of stress to catapult myself to the next level? I thought this, this right here is the frustration of a horse show. When you don't have the luxury of changing the time of your ride and ish hits the fan, okay? And you are not feeling yourself. And you still have to go ride. How do you handle this? I thought, I didn't pay any money, and I still get this marvelous gift of being able to practice just like a show. Ooh, mama, I have to ride. I have to. So I saddled up and I went out to ride, and I did take a few minutes beforehand to just walk around by myself, get some of my nervous energy out. And I took a few minutes to do some groundwork to check in with my horse before I got on. And then I got on. And you know what? We had a good ride. I channeled both of our energy, me from being angry and high strung, and him from having most of the week off. And we worked on forward, took advantage of that energy. We went forward at the walk, forward at the trot. We steered all over. I kept steady hands, drove him up into the bridle. We did a brief lope each way, did the same thing. And we kept it low key, stopped at the center to just chill several times. And in 30 minutes, we had a great little ride. We made progress in our training. I was able to be so in the moment that some of my nerves fell to the wayside, even if they did come back after I got off. But horses don't lie. Horses don't lie. And my horse showed me that I was able to show up for him. I was quite proud of myself, to be honest, not just because we had a nice ride, but because I faced my fears. I chose to leave my issues outside of the arena. I chose to control my emotions and have a good ride. I chose to build my confidence and my horse's confidence by doing a hard thing and acknowledging it. After, I got to thinking, we have to embrace those moments that we want to run away from. When we have big feelings, we want to run away. And honestly, the physical act of running, can actually be a healthy way to handle hard feelings. But metaphorically, we don't want to deal with hard feelings and we don't want to do hard things when we aren't regulated. And it's not that I want you to be dangerous and reckless and get on and ride when you're full of emotion, but I want you to embrace those moments that make you dysregulated. We do want those calm days and calm rides because that is an important part of training our brains and strengthening the neural pathways that say, this is how we ride. This is how we behave. We want our default to be pretty neutral when we're around horses. But life is challenging. Training is challenging. Competing is challenging. We need exposure to hard situations in order to put ourselves to the test. Or to put it another way, we need exposure to hard situations to practice handling hard situations. If all we ever encounter is ourselves in an arena solo and everything is always perfect, you're going to have a hard time handling a crowded warm-up pen. And you're going to have a hard time when your horse acts up or when you are emotionally riled up, when you're angry, frustrated, disappointed. Even if you aren't grateful at the moment for that, say, slow down on the freeway, it's a wonderful opportunity to practice self-regulation, an opportunity to practice coming back to neutral. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And big situations with big feelings, they are a gift for you to practice regulating yourself in higher pressure situations. Basically, it's all part of practice like you show. You know you are going to have big feelings at competition. So embrace it when big feelings come up in your daily life. Use this gift as an opportunity to practice your skill and ability to handle those big emotions and come back to neutral, come back to center. I challenge you to find one moment this coming week where you find yourself challenged and emotional. And instead of staying in that state of overwhelm and anger or frustration or anxiety, use it as an opportunity to practice self-regulation. Time yourself. See how long it takes you to get calm and focused again before you feel normal again. How long does it take? Is it an hour, 4 hours, overnight, a week? It can be surprisingly long to truly get back to baseline, depending on what happened and what threw you off. Use that as a starting point, and then it becomes a game. The next time you get thrown off mentally or emotionally, you can say to yourself, hey, last time it took me 26 hours to really feel better. Can I feel better in 25 hours? See what happens. Then send me a message and tell me how it went for you. All right. Because I want to hear about this. Let me tell you, it shifted everything for me when I was able to, in that moment, tap into that feeling of, oh my gosh, this is a game changer. I can use this as the fire to make myself stronger. This is the opportunity that I need to practice the exact skills I need. When I was able to tap into that and shift my mindset, it's like a light switch. It changed everything for me. And it made me want to run into that situation instead of run away from it. It didn't make it easier, but it made me want to go towards it instead of away. And I had to share this because I hope it can do the same for you. So be on the lookout for this podcast that's coming soon with Jeff Wadman. It is seriously so good, you guys. You are going to get so much out of it. So I can't wait for you to hear it, listen to it, share it with all your friends. I cannot wait to share it with you. I believe in you. Happy trails.